All right. The summer after Malcolm. The summer after Malcolm, I lost myself in a jet stream of mad words, acts, goading bits of love memory. Like that, it was a cold bitch. I mean, the pain. Dig. All summer long, I could see Malcolm's face drifting with the sound of Harlem children. Old men played checkers on the blocks running between 7th and 8th. And yes, there was a sweating night. The wine smells and hallways were screaming women, angry the way the breeze came off the river, angered too by the rustle of soft murmuring silhouettes in the dark park. Child of demon lover, I grappled with ancestral ghosts. It was Smokey Robinson's summer, the hip falsetto, the long lean lover. Missed you, baby. Missed her small and awkwardness, the brown walk, the soft spots in the dark of her. Night turns on its edges. Dig. It was a still clinging that robed sleep those summer nights. Under the beat music spiraling over us, under the beat, and oh, how we clung and took that lovely, lovely, very mellow, special super ride. But that summer after Malcolm marks my phase in time. After Malcolm, the seasons turned stale. There was a dullness in the air for a while, and you had gone, and there was a lingering beauty in the pain. Now there are scraps of you here and there in the backwash of my mind. And check this, lurking between odd pages in a book of blues, your handwriting in red ink. All right. Look, even though I can't necessarily see you guys, but traditionally after we end a poem, we'll kind of do our poem fingers just to kind of signal. Thank you, Lonnie, to signal the end of the poem. Thank you, Dean. All right. So let me go ahead and move on to the next poem. This poem is written by Nikki Giovanni. Thank you, guys. This poem, I believe, is fitting, especially since we have so many poets who are reading from Langston Hughes today. Oh, sorry. Waiter waiting to come in. One thing to keep in mind about Langston Hughes, especially as we will hear from him today, is even though he's known as this Harlem Renaissance poet, he also spans several movements. So we see the influence of Langston Hughes not only in the Harlem Renaissance, but we also see his influence in the realism, naturalism, and modernism movement, which we see Gwendolyn Brooks, we have Margaret Walker, those poets. We also see him in the Black arts movement. So Nikki Giovanni, she pays homage to quite a few of the poets who came before her. And one of those poets is Langston Hughes. His contribution is immeasurable, especially in our discussions of Black History Month. So let me go ahead and pull up my next poem. It's called A Poem for Langston. And as this is coming up, another thing to keep in mind about Langston Hughes, he's one of the earlier poets who performed spoken word to music. He would perform his poems in front of a jazz accompaniment. So he may be, look, a wink and a nod at one of the earliest rappers to put poem or rhyme or verse to music. So let me go ahead and get started. A Poem for Langston Hughes by Nikki Giovanni. Diamonds are mined, oil is discovered, gold is found, but thoughts are uncovered. Wool is sheared, silk is spun, weaving is hard, but words are fun. Highways span, bridges connect, county roads ramble, but I suspect if I took a rainbow ride, I could be there by your side. Metaphor has its point of view, illusion and illusion too. Meter verse, classical free. Poems are what you do to me. Let's look at this one more time since I put this rap to rhyme. When I take my rainbow ride, you'll be right by my side. Hey bop, hey Riri. Okay. All right. That is the great poet Nikki Giovanni. She would often write poems in homage to those poets who came before her. So that was her tribute to Langston Hughes. All right, awesome. So we're getting started, a couple of poems. Our next poet, and we may be moving just a tad bit early. I think the poems are kind of broke down in 10-minute increments, but we're right at 10:09. So our next poet on the schedule, we'll go ahead and keep it going, is Victoria Walker. She'll be reading from the poet Gwendolyn Brooks, When Have You Forgotten Sunday, and The Love Story. Look, Miss Walker, are you here? I think I did.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Victoria Walker. I'm college clerical assistant too at Malcolm X College in the Office of Instruction. So my poem today is When You Have Forgotten Sunday, The Love Story by Gwendolyn Brooks. And when you have forgotten the bright bedclothes on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and most especially when you have forgotten Sunday, when you have forgotten Sunday halves in bed, or me sitting on the front room radiator in the limping afternoon, looking off down the long street to nowhere, hugged by my plain old wrapper of no expectation and nothing I have to do, and I'm happy why. And if Monday never had to come, and when you have forgotten that, I say, and how you swore if somebody beeped the bell, and how my heart played hopscotch if the telephone rang, and how we finally went into Sunday dinner. That is to say, we went across the front room floor to the ink-spotted table in the southwest corner, to Sunday dinner, which was always chicken and noodles, or chicken and rice, and salad, and rye bread, and tea. Oh yes, and chocolate chip cookies. I say, when you have forgotten that, when you have forgotten my little presentiment that the war would be over before they got to you, and how we finally undressed and whipped out the light and flowed into bed and lay loose-limbed for a moment in the weekend, bright bedclothes, then gently folded into each other. And when you have, I say, forgotten all that, then you may tell, then I may believe you have forgotten me as well. Thank you.
That was awesome. All right, so we are in anticipation of the next poem. All right, that was awesome, Miss Walker. And another thing to add about Gwendolyn Brooks, she was a historic poet here from Chicago, from Bronzeville. She is one of the pioneering poets of the naturalism, realism, and modernism movement. She wrote about poetry that reflected real life. She wrote about poetry that reflected what she saw outside her window. She grew up in Bronzeville, and she would often entertain other poets who would come here to Chicago to visit or to write, including Langston Hughes. So good, thank you for that. All right, our next poem, we are a tad bit early, but that's okay. If we have a little bit time towards the end, we can include a few more readers. That's what that'll mean, so good. Let me go ahead and move on to Mitchell Goins. Hi, Mitch, are you ready to read?
I'm here, Aletha, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm here with English 101D. All my students are here with me, so we're all happy to be here. So rather than reading, Aletha, I think we had talked about, I'm gonna play a video of my poet.
Yes, that's correct. Let me give you co-host capability so you can share your screen.
Thank you.
All right, there you go.
All right, let me pull this up. Bear with me, everyone. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you a video by a poet, writer, activist named Michael Bornay. A little background information on Micah. I met Micah in the summer of 2009 here in Chicago we were on the same work crew together. So we cleaned bathrooms together all summer in our college dorm. And I haven't stayed in touch with Micah Bornay, but I have followed his work over the years. So I'm going to play two videos. One is him performing one of his poems entitled Native Tongue. And the second one is a poem titled There Goes the Neighborhood. And I will drop a link in the chat to right now to Micah's book of poetry on Amazon.
Awesome.
So here is Native Tongue. Oh, I'm gonna have to stop. I'm sorry. I didn't share sound. So let me make sure I share sound. And I will stop the video right at the beginning, Aletha, just to confirm that everyone can hear.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay.
Sure.
According to Shakespeare.
Can everyone hear?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear? Could you hear that, Aletha?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear that.
Okay. Okay. Just want to confirm.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
According to ShakespeareOnline.com, the English language owes a great debt to Shakespeare. He invented over 1,700 of our common words by changing nouns into verbs, changing verbs into adjectives, connecting words never before used together, adding prefixes and suffixes, and devising words wholly original. If I could, I'd spit this in whatever mother tongue was ripped from our mother's lips. But the closest I got to that is hip-hop, is black talk, is improper, non-proper, unproper, uneducated, un-educated, un-scratch, assimilated me talk, we talk, our talk. Make y'all wish y'all know I'm talking about talk. Make y'all ask your black friend talk. Make y'all run to urbandictionary.com talk. That one thing, that something that belongs to us. That us you try to demonize, envy, copy, despise. That us you try to categorize, stereotype, try to shame our broken English you wish you could understand, but you can't never get it because we stay fly, we stay fresh, we stay changed, we stay everyday new way to say we never believed your lies, we never spoke your tongue, we been educated, uneducated, un-educated, unscratched, assimilated, and if you ever want to know what we talking about, maybe you need to unlearn a thing or two. Who says our vernacular ain't classical? Who says rap lyricists are anything less than Shakespearean? Shakespeare, a man who turned nouns into verbs and invented 1,700 words. That's funny. When we break the rules, we're called ignorant. When we invent words, they're called slang. The way we talk is improper, non-proper, unproper, uneducated, un-educated, unscratched, assimilated. We ain't never been dumb. We break English like chains. This is our native tongue.
All right. And if there's time for one more, can we do our snap fingers?
Please do one more. Yes.
Okay. This next poem here is titled There Goes the Neighborhood.
I'm going to be reading a poem titled
Can everyone hear? Okay, thank you.
There Goes the Neighborhood from my book, Here Comes This Dreamer. Babe's Kitchen is one of those classic diners frozen in nostalgia. It feels like black and white television. It feels like a time before my time, yet somehow too familiar. All of the employees are related. All of the employees are senior citizens. A real American family business. a pillar of the community, feeding the blue collars of Long Beach long before Snoop Dogg, long before the city changed. Somebody's grandfather came to take our order. He looked me up and down and asked, "Did you register when you moved into the neighborhood?" I couldn't decide if he was a cold racist, asking a racist question, or a friendly racist, telling a racist joke. Either way, I was not amused, but I laughed. As the awkward chuckle passed through my lips, it tasted like the Eucharist, like blood in my mouth. My stomach churned as I imagined it would if I ate human flesh. I felt like Judas, like Christ, betraying myself, then hanging in silence as I'm crucified. I wanted to prove him wrong. I wanted to stand up and list off my credentials in words with more syllables than his simple mind could take. I wanted to prove him right. I wanted to stand up and fire off hyphenated profanities, inventing new conjugations for four-letter words like the dumbest nigga he done ever heard. I wanted to prove him wrong. I wanted to leave and come back with the black elite, a fleet of the sharpest, darkest intellectuals he's ever seen, leaving tips large enough to buy out this business twice over. I wanted to prove him right. I wanted to leave and come back with thugs and hood rats with chains, guns, and bats, burn this place to ash. But what did I do? I laughed, then sat there silently, then ran home and wrote poetry, then screamed it out like I'm not a coward, like I didn't cry in front of my computer screen, like I wasn't waiting for my two white friends to speak up for me, like I stood up for myself, like I did something, like I fought a revolution, like it wasn't funny, like I didn't laugh. But I did. And it tasted like the Eucharist, like blood in my mouth. And I swallowed it.
Wow. Look, and his name is Michael Bornay. Is that right, Mitchell?
Yeah, this is Micah Bornay. You can visit his website. You can find him really easily online. I dropped his book of poetry into the chat box. So
I will be stalking him. He's
and
awesome.
he's a Long Beach native. So that's Micah Bornay. I'm happy to introduce him to you
I'm
all.
happy, very pleased to meet him. All right, you guys, this poetry read-a-thon is on fire already. Okay, we had Gwendolyn Brooks, Miss Walker coming through with a read. We had Mitchell with Michael Bornay. Thank you for the introduction. I will be stalking him. Okay, let's see who we have next on our read-a-thon list. Ivor. Now I know Ivor sent a message, so I think he's reading in the 3 p.m. session instead. So next on that list would be Sakina. I think I saw Sakina. Miss Sakina Khan, are you here today? Don't see her at the moment. All right, that's okay. We're moving just slightly ahead of schedule. So if I need to add anyone to the back end, that'll be okay. But it looks like Marvell, I think I saw you here. Hi there, Mr. Marvell Terry. He'll be reading for us today, Langston Hughes. All right,
Yes,
go.
yes. I wanted to explore to see, can I exchange one of my poems for a video of some poetry? Is that okay?
You can, sure.
Awesome. So I will still read For My Own Protection by XX Hemphill. I will read Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. But there's also a newer artist I would like to introduce to everyone by the name of Adrian Dunn, who is a Chicago artist, ADRIAN DUNN. This is actually one of his hoodies, Black Music Matters. where he leads a campaign of trying to preserve Black folks' music that came through the slave fields. And so that will be my third piece. The first piece that I'll be reading is very personal to me for my own protection by XX Hemphill, because it talks about the HIV and AIDS epidemic and how Black men, particularly Black gay men, were erased. And this poem talks about how the government was saving everyone else, but do the lives of Black men deserve to be saved? And so, for my own protection by XX Hemphill, I want to start an organization to save my life. If whales, snails, dogs, cats, Chrysler, and Nissan can be saved, the lives of Black men are priceless and can be saved. We should be able to save each other. I don't want to wait for the Heritage Foundation to release a study saying Black people are extinct. I don't want to be the living dead personified with drugs, sex, and rock and roll. If a human chain can be formed around the nuclear missile sites, then surely Black men can form human chains around Anacostia, Harlem, South Africa, Wall Street, Hollywood, each other. If we have to take tomorrow with blood, are we ready? Do our S-curls and dreadlocks and Phillies make us any more ready than a Bush or a Coqueline? I'm not concerned about the attire of a soldier. All I want to know for my own protection is, are we capable of whatever, whenever, for my own protection by XX Hemphill. The next poem would be Mother to Son. My first time saying this poem, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm originally from the South. And so while in high school, I was in a lot of plays, and I received this poem from my theater instructor. It wasn't a theater major, but I would participate in after school events. And Mother to Son did not make sense to me until I became a grown man, particularly a man of conscience, a man that is present in his Black body. And so I now present to you Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards turn up and places where no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time I've been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on those steps because you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fail now, for I still going, honey. I still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. That's Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. Then finally, I guess I will share my screen.
Here, now let me make you a co-host, Marvell. That'll allow you to share it. Okay, so you should be able to share now.
Okay. Let's see. Share screen. And just to tease this, again, this is Adrian Dunn. You see his name up there. He has a lot of work on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, but he's been in Chicago for about 16 years, is a classical singer, but does hip opera, has a group called the Adrian Dunn Singers live in Chicago on Apple Music, where he has rearranged spirituals and dedicated them to the lives of Black men. And so for this new project, he created the Rise Orchestra, which is an all-Black ensemble in the city of Chicago. And he released a virtual concert last Thursday. And so if you wanted to go check out this full concert, I would recommend that you check it out. It is now available on YouTube. But I want to share with you this is called In Black. And let's see, how do I, how do I ensure that the sound comes from? Oh, I think it's already there. So I'm gonna just play it and see.
So I think we may need to add the sound because we can't hear. Can anybody else hear it?
No, I can't.
Okay.
Mitchell, look, help me out. What do we do?
Yeah,
Sound?
Marvell, when you go to share screen, before you select like whether you want to share just your web browser or your whole computer screen, there should be a button on the bottom left-hand corner that says share computer sound.
Yes. Let me. Okay, I see it. Okay. So let me, I apologize, everyone.
Oh, yeah. So it looks like Viggy says you may have to stop share and then come back in to make, oh, let's see.
Let's see.
I am what the preachers call sin, an abomination of flesh, 3/5 a person, not human, but I am black. Black like corridors of thunderstorms, but different when embodied by, personified, kinky hair and dark skin. Because what scares you the most is this color black, in its darkness, in its expressiveness, in its tint. You see, I am your fear manifested. Young brown boys in hoodies on dark streets hunting. And you think you have fathomed me, measured by the circumference of your psychotic psychology, yet still confused as to why that I have a propensity for smoking trees. Because as you would soon forget, in a previous life, I was lynched by one. I am fugitive as I am captive, always seeking but escaping justice I am. Fatherless children programmed to believe daddies don't exist outside of incarceration I am. Mothers, immobile and pregnant, barefoot and stagnant, lost to the clusterfuck of this crooked system I am. Jail for crimes committed by someone who looked like me, and by look like me, all I mean is human. But I am a gift, created of his likeness, chosen by him to live the life that I live. I am lyric, I am rhyme, I am song. I am musical hieroglyphs to freedom. I am ancestral in my timbre and in my cadence. I am my native drum when I dance. And this is my rhapsody in black.
Thank you, everyone. The actual lyricist is Ken Like Barbie Williams, who is a colleague of mine. I do HIV work, so he's also a Chicago native. You can look him up, Ken Like Barbie, like the Barbie doll. So Barbie, but also the artist is Adrian Dunn. So please look him up. Just a little plug, he's my partner. So I appreciate all of the streams. And so thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Marvell, and thank you for introducing us to Ken Like Barbie. Now, Ken Like Barbie, was he the poet or?
Yes,
Okay, he
he's
was
the poet, but
and
yeah,
the yes, the accompaniment, the orchestra, the life of the poetry came from Adrian Dunn.
yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for introducing. Look, and shout out Memphis. Look.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Awesome poets. I have chills after that. I wrote down the line, I am lyric, I am rhyme. Just the whole play on words there, the use of metaphor, beautiful. Thank you guys so much. All right. Look, the poetry read-a-thon. Let's move to our next reader. Let's see. Did Sakina, hi Sakina, I see you there. Hi
Hi,
there.
Elise.
We have our next poem is by Professor Khan, Sakina Khan. She will be reading the amazing poem. Look, when I saw you had wrote this down, Sakina, I got so excited. The poem, The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman.
Yes, Aletha. I was captivated by this poem, and I hope I can do justice in this recital. I hope I can do justice to Amanda Gorman. So would you like me to go ahead and get started?
Sure, go ahead, yes.
Okay. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gaze, not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promise to glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the path we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour. But within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation, become the future. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. Every breath from my bronze pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the golden hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will build, reconcile, and recover. And every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn balloons as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sakina. Professor Khan, I was really excited when I saw that poem. For those of you who may not know, Amanda Gorman, she gave the poem at the inauguration. She was also the, I believe, teen poet laureate as well, right? I believe so. She's awesome. If you guys have ever seen that poem performed live, then you know the power of the spoken word, the power of poetry. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. All right, our next poet. So there is no poet on the reading schedule, but I did want to ask, I know there are a few of us here. Is there anyone who perhaps wanted to read today? Anyone who had a poem in mind that you perhaps wanted to share? Is there anyone here? All right, if not, that's okay. But we do have about, I want to say maybe another 20 minutes on the schedule. So if you guys do want to share, simply let me know. You can drop something in chat. I had also planned to read just in case things kind of hit a lull. So I have another poem that I'll read to you guys. It's by Mari Evans. Mari Evans is born in Ohio, but raised here in Chicago. I believe she actually used to teach at Malcolm X and used to teach, I believe, at Truman College. But she represents a poet from the Black Arts Movement. She was one of the creators of Third World Press. So she is not only a writer of poetry, she was also a supporter of Black writers and Black publications. She published the works of many poets here in Chicago. She was a student of Langston Hughes. So a lot of the influences that we've talked about, you guys will see how poets, whether they are, from our past or even poets that we've looked at, we've been introduced to even now today, they in some way or form have been influenced by, the poets of the past, the Harlem Renaissance, Langston Hughes, Gwendolyn Brooks, etc. So Mari Evans is one of those poets as well. She's known for writing what they call political poems, as well as poems that promote Black, I want to say Black pride, Black power. Okay, so Mari Evans, the poem that I'm going to read is Vive Noir. This particular poem, I believe, was written, I believe this is 1980. All right, so it says, I am going to rise in mass from inner city, sick of New York ghettos, Chicago tenements, and slums, weary of exhausted lands, sagging privies, saying yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, in an assortment of geographical dialects. I have seen my last broken down plantation, even from a distance. I will load all my goods in 50 Chevy pickups, 53 Fords, Fly United, and 66 Caddies. I have packed in the old man and the old lady and wiped the children's noses. I'm tired of hand me downs, shut me ups, pin me ins, keep me outs, messing me over, have just had it from you. I'm going to spread out over America, intrude my proud blackness all over the place. I have wrested wheat fields from the forest, turned rivers from their courses, leveled mountains at a word, festooned the land with bridges, gem-like of filaments of steel, moved glistening towers of Babel in place like blocks, sweated a whole civilization. Now I'm going to breathe fire. I'm going to breathe fire through flaming nostrils, burn a place for me in the skyscrapers and the schoolrooms on the green lawns and the white beaches. I'm going to wear the robes and sit on the benches, make the rules and make the arrest. Say who can and who can't. Baby, you don't stand a chance. I'm going to put black angels in all the books and a black Christ child in Mary's arms. I'm going to make black bunnies, black fairies, black Santas, black nursery rhymes, and black ice cream. I'm going to make it a crime to be anything but black. Pass the copper tone. All right, that's the end of that. With Mari Evans, again, the poem is titled Vive Noir. That's one. I see I have a couple of messages. Okay, just a few people leaving out. Is there anyone else who wanted to hop back on the reading list? If not, look.
I can share a video if you would like.
Sure, go ahead, Viggy. I would definitely appreciate that. Let me go ahead and give you share capabilities.
So while you're doing that, I just want to say this is a group, a youth group that the individuals are not always Black. Some of them are. So I do want to be mindful of that diversity in the group. I'm going to play one video that's 1:30. That's, I'd rather have this group define themselves. So Kumba Links, it's not just the 3 youth that you'll see in it, but this is just one of their videos featuring a few of their youth spoken word poets. So I'm going to try to share the screen now. Let's see.
Are you able to do it, Viggy?
Yeah, I think so. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if you can hear it.
On stage. My name is Victor Masoni.
Hi, I'm Alexis Pettis.
And I'm part of this family we call Kumba Links. Kumba Links is a hip hop arts organization that uses hip hop and arts to teach social justice through art and uses the youth as their main focus. KL has given me the ability to cry and given me the ability to talk. And also it's just taught me so many things about being an artist and about being a person. And I think Kumba Links has just been a safe haven.
I wasn't comfortable with my body. I'm a writer, but I didn't write about myself. I didn't include anything about my arm in my writing because I didn't accept it. But after Google Links, I am absolutely fine with it. I mean, I love me. Okay. The story we want to tell is the story of Chicago youth and our imagination and creativity to combat what everyone thinks about us. We are Chicago. We were funded in Chicago. Our youth are from Chicago, all sides of Chicago. Honestly, the narrative of the youth of Chicago is like, if someone didn't do it, you ain't gonna be the one to do it. And to work with this program, with these professionals, it seems like it's right there, and we need that.
The youth now, we're so powerful in what we do. And I think it's time to show that the youth, this is the youth's day. And this is the youth's age. This is the youth's work. And that the youth can do this too. And that's basically what you will receive on stage.
Okay, so I'm going to play one of their 4 or 5 or 3-minute pieces. Could you hear their little intro? Okay, so sound is working. Sorry, there's another video playing in the background. I'm sharing screen now.
Load, aim, boom, boom, fire! Up high, fly your jets conform into catastrophic colonialists. Government steers this cycle. Nuclear atomics ready. Torture, locked and loaded. Drop thousands of feet. Run, we ducking and dodging torment techniques. Fire! John Burge, Commander-in-Chief. He patriotic patrol of practice the pointing of missiles. 22 future shocked in the current of electrical rock. 36 bodies bruised with sentence locked. 0 number of times Burge experienced consequence. Mission accomplished. I saw Moctezuma in my brother after he was ambushed by the boys in blue. This Nervo Mexicano beaten between color-filled ends and Puma kicks. Or stitches like Daniel Taylor's cry for help. Baton battery carved his casket with false confessions. Felony arrest, arts repressed, ain't no rest in a race. The voice. They bring chain cuffs over here bigger than a month on a block, 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 block. Interrogations with Burge in a false confession. 9,968,191 tax dollars paid on the famous John Burge against claims of police torture. It's coming. First time I saw a man burst into little boys. Was between wetback and PhD. My father rolls down his window like he is supposed to. The officer asked him to get out the car. Assuming it's brown, could it be without traffic? Drugs, could it be without his brown? Michaels, melanin, poster job for police pension. After hours of questioning and searching, my father reminded me of institutional genocide. The deliberate death, torture of a people. Bomb, blast, release of energy, breaking our sanity. Wherever black blood be, bullied by boys in blue is bound to bruise. Every 28 hours they suspect, seize, search, and criminalize. Reparations owed to the 110 black men. Badges are nothing but shooting stars. So we run, fight, we're oxygen masks. Protection from police who hinder respiratory airways. Resist propelling nuclear poison. Resist learning division through obsidian bars before third grade. Resist, because we punished for it anyway. We need this land to acknowledge and make amends. Don't ready, aim, fire, bomb, blast. You don't want your civilians to ISIS, Taliban, Al Qaeda, back at you. Are you coming to the streets? They shot down a boy. They said he was a thief. Strange things have happened here, and stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the murder streets. Don't preach about terrorism when you keep it breathing and beating.
So yeah, Snaps, Kumba Links. They're one of my favorite youth organizations in Chicago. So thank you all for listening to them.
Yes, that was awesome. And again, showing the power in poetry beyond the words, also, the performance aspect of it as well as the political social justice aspect as well, which is really a major theme in poetry, but also in African-American poetry. It really is kind of rooted in some levels in politics. There is no escaping it. It always shows up. If it's not in the lines, it's in between the lines. So I'm very relevant work. And I like the fact that it is presented by the youth. I too believe the youth is who will save us, right? So really good. Thank you for sharing that, Viggy. We have about 7 minutes left. If anyone else wanted to share, you have the floor to do so, but let me make a quick announcement that We have our next session at 3 p.m. today, as well as our last session at 6. You guys can use the same link in order to participate in those sessions as well. But I really appreciate, look, we have a few of us left, everyone who came out. I appreciate the readers, those who participated. The Poetry Read-a-thon is really off to a great start. With that being said, is there anyone who wanted to close us out? All right, if not, that's okay. I'm thinking what I may do, just to kind of close us out, is read one last poem. That'll be the closing poem for this first session, and we will meet again at 3 p.m. later today. So let me go ahead. I'm kind of staying with my earlier selection of Mari Evans. She's one of those brilliant poets who I believe sometimes we don't hear about enough. Not only for what she did, you know, as a poet, but also what she did as a publisher, as a promoter and supporter of African-American art. This is relatively short. Let me go ahead and start with this. All right, the poem is Speak the Truth to the People by Mari Evans. Speak the truth to the people. Talk sense to the people. Free them with honesty. Free the people with love and courage for their being. Spare them the fantasy. Fantasy enslaves. A slave is enslaved, can be enslaved by unwisdom, can be re-enslaved while in flight from the enemy, can be enslaved by his brother whom he loves, his brother whom he trusts, whom he loves, his brother whom he trusts, his brother with the loud voice and the unwisdom. Speak truth to the people. It is necessary to green the heart only to identify the enemy. It is necessary to blow the mind only to free the mind. To identify the enemy is to free the mind. A free mind has no need to scream. A free mind is ready for other things. To build Black schools, to build Black children, to build Black minds, to build Black love, to build Black impregnability, to build a strong Black nation, to build. All right, that's Mari Evans. I could read her whole book if I had time. All right, you guys, we're right at about 10:56, but I think this is a good time to go ahead and end the session. If you didn't get a chance to read in this session, but would like to read in a later session, just drop your name. I'll kind of reach out and see how I can add you to the list. Other than that, I'll go ahead and dismiss. Thank you all to everyone who came out. Look, shout out to Dean Javier. I appreciate you for coming out and staying the whole time. Thank you, Viggy. All right, you guys. And also, look, I want to shamelessly plug, if anybody enjoyed any of the poems read today or the work that we've discussed today, I want to encourage you all to look for any literature courses, any poetry courses offered here at Malcolm X, so you can learn a lot more about those voices. All right. All right, thank you guys. I'll hopefully see you guys at 3. Bye.